Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu salam, rasulullah, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to welcome to our program here at Sharjah Broadcasting Authority. Getting closer to your Lord, knowing who your Lord is, and hopefully implementing those acts and deeds in your life that will be beneficial today and tomorrow, and more importantly, in the hereafter. And there are many people today who say they don't believe in the hereafter. Well, I say shame on them. I feel sorry for them because they're cutting themselves off from their eternity. And of course, that in itself, it doesn't really make sense. And many people today, they have made a tremendous amount of effort, and they continue to do that on a daily basis in relationship to their present existence. And some of them thinking that their satisfaction and happiness will come in these things. And as a result of that, they commit suicide. And now they've lost the things that Allah has granted them in this world. They didn't appreciate them for whatever that might be. And now they're suffering in the grave. And Allah knows best what will happen to them on the day of judgment. So we are warning everyone. There are hard times now, today, for many people. And some people have only known hard times. So we should not be deceived by that. For those of us who are living well, we should not be deceived by the fact that there are many people, they are suffering, and they have been suffering. And also at the same time, we should not forget them and do whatever it is within our capacity to assist. And minimally, we can pray for the people who are suffering. It's minimal. So if we look at the condition presently, today, globally, we wish to inspire and motivate people to come closer to their Lord before the test of the world become a reality for them. And those people who may be in dire circumstances today, now is the time for you to turn to Allah. This is the best time. There is no better time than today. And you must believe that Allah will not, He has promised not to place a burden on a believer which he cannot bear, and that whatever difficulty that he may suffer under, that surely Allah will grant him ease and a means of forgiveness. And it could be, depending on his patience and steadfastness in obedience to the commandments of Allah, a means of him entering the paradise. And this is what we believe with total conviction. And this is our inspiration, or let's say part and parcel of our inspiration and motivation, that surely Allah is there, surely Allah knows all our conditions, surely Allah has promised to assist the believers. In Surah Al-Ankabut, in Surah number 29, verse number 60, Allah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, as for those who strive hard in our cause, we will surely guide them to our paths, meaning Islamic monotheism. And verily Allah is with the muhsineen, the good doers. In the Surah Munzamil, this is number 73, verse number 20, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And whatever good you send before you for yourselves, meaning non-obligatory acts of prayer and worship, Hajj, Umrah, etc., you will certainly find it with Allah, and better and greater in rewards. And narrated Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, the Prophet ﷺ said, that Allah said, this is what we call Hadith Qudsi, we're narrated from Allah, I will declare war against him who shows hostility to a pious worshiper of mine. And the most beloved thing with which my slave comes nearer to me is what I have enjoined upon him. And my slave keeps coming nearer to me is what I have enjoined upon him, and my slave keeps coming closer to me through performing prayer or doing extra deeds besides what is obligatory. I love him till I love him. When I love him, I become his hearing with which he hears, his seeing with which he sees, his hand with which he strikes, and his leg with which he walks. And if he asks something from me, I give him. And if he asks my protection and refuge, I protect him. This collected by Bukhari. Let's look at these attributes which Allah is using here to describe the believer and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is granting the believer when he makes effort to reach this level of submission and obedience to Allah. And very important thing, it says Allah declares war against him who shows hostility to a pious worshiper of mine. This is very interesting. It's very interesting. As we look at today, many places in the world today where there was conflict, we find due to the set of circumstances, right, this pandemic, people have become afraid of their lives and have had to reorientate themselves because of it. Allah has put people in a calm, for lack of a better description, not a calm so much, but contained for some time, where they could think and reflect and see their conditions and be worried about tomorrow. And the statement that people commonly use has become a reality. And that is a very simple statement. Take it one day at a time. It has become a reality for everyone because all of us now know someone who has passed away. Allah knows best in the name of the virus, basically. The worry is there because most of us are walking around with one of these of one type or another and taking all types of precautions globally. So if we look at it and put this in context, how does that impact what we're saying here? How does it impact our relationship with our Lord? Do we come closer? Do we have more of the reality of what it is that we should be doing and what we should not be doing? Or have we become more negligent or more resistant? There's a time for us to reflect. We've had this time to reflect. And now, in many places, things are starting to become relaxed. But this could be the quiet before the storm. Allah knows best. We don't know. We have to ask ourselves, though, have we taken this time out to reflect? What are we doing today to come closer in this particular time frame that we're living in, closer to our Lord? It is very interesting that I've mentioned this before, and I was just talking to one brother yesterday who was raised as a Christian, a very strong Christian. He's Muslim, alhamdulillah, but he's raised a very strong Christian. He was laughing. He says, everybody knows from the Old Testament about plagues and locusts. Everybody knows about this historically. And we're looking at these things in front of us now, and people are taking it lightly. They are not orientating themselves that this can be a punishment from Allah or can be a wake-up call from Allah. For some, one, and for others, something different and distinct. But for everyone, it should be a wake-up call. Everyone should be aware and conscious that what we're seeing today is just a simple warning. Tomorrow is the reality, meaning that every soul, Allah says in the Quran, more or less, every soul shall have a taste of death. So tomorrow, regardless of how, the means, the time, the methodology, all of us have to leave this world. So this is a warning for us to wake up, reflect, look at where you're going. Look at what you're doing. Are you living in accordance to the commandments of Allah? Or are you far away from those commandments? Are you striving to obey the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or are you doing some other things? Or there's some people saying, I'm doing my thing. What is your thing? How does that relate to our present existence and our hereafter? Is it within that context when you say that? Or is this something that you say proudly or arrogantly? And many people are arrogant in this way. Have you dismissed your Lord? And you have become so-called self-reliant, independent. This is an illusion. And Allah says that He gives people rope. So a person who's deluded by these thoughts, and of course this is a form of delusion, and Satan takes him along and leads him just as you would lead a small child, and allows him to become inflated with the ignorance that has become his reality, unfortunately. And we're seeing too many people like this today, too many young people who are being easily misled because of their desires. They think in some instances that they're doing something good, something constructive, or in many instances they are just saying, well, I'm just doing my thing. Me and my friends, we're not harming anybody. We're just doing our thing. We're just having fun. And this word fun, it's a very broad connotation today. So we're not really hurting anyone. We're just having fun, which can describe a multitude of activities based on the mentality of the people who are indulging in these acts. What is your choice, my dear viewers? Today, 2020, what do you choose? It has to be today. He says, well, I'm not ready, brother. I like what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but I'm not ready to commit myself. I'm living like this and I'm living like that. I'm doing a little this, I'm doing a little that. And, one of these days I'll get myself together. One of these days is not promised for any one of us. We need to look at this very carefully when we say taking one day at a time. As we can all see, the world is moving rapidly, and this is also one of the signs of the last days. So we should be aware of the essence of time, how we're using it, realizing also that one day the time will run out. If someone is in denial about that, then he is in very serious trouble. If he thinks he will exceed that time which is written by Allah for him, he is being fooled and misled by his desires. So, my dear viewers, take the time out today before there is no more time to look at your direction. Correct yourself. If you're living and breathing, you have time. Correct yourself now. Do not wait. There is no time for waiting now. People says, well, brother, I have a few things I need to put in place. I know Islamic's right. I know Allah's God, and I believe that. But I have a few things in my life. I need to get those things together first because I want to be pure. None of us is pure. And we're not saying a person who is a devout sinner should just come, say, I want to be a Muslim and just continue on his sin. No, we're saying that he should take steps towards correcting himself, become a Muslim, ask Allah to help him overcome this behavior. Strive and take actions and do the things of being around good people and learning and implementing what he learns, and continue to beg Allah to take this out of his life. But to leave him, no, we should not leave him. So we're not leaving you. And many of the people who are out there today are totally lost, totally young and old. They're clueless about the reality of this world and the hereafter. And now, many people, the thing that they held fast and had the most confidence in, they're losing. Their wealth. I was just looking recently at a listing of some major companies who have been around for a long time, who are applying or going out of business, who are going bankrupt, filing for bankruptcy. So this world, the Prophet ﷺ told us this world is temporary. And the believer should live in this world, his life, as a traveler. And for the believer, this world is a prison, as though it is a prison. For the disbeliever, his paradise. Because the believer has restrictions. There are things he cannot do. And many non-Muslims can do and do. We cannot. And we should not desire to do what they do, which is in conflict with what Allah has commanded us to do. So the time is running. Take the time out today, because tomorrow is not promised. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to thank you for joining us here at Sharjah Broadcasting Authority. May Allah guide all of you, and for the believers, protect you and keep you under His mercy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.